Moritz, Max Inhouse, and Bruno Moria all have something in common. A 16-year-old content operator helping drive their content behind the scenes. Danny Fresko has stepped into the role of that content director that these working for those creators, focusing on how their content is packaged and distributed to grow their audiences. In this conversation, we break down how he earned that level of trust at such a young age and how he approaches content strategy from an operator's perspective. Danny Fresko, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Ethan. It's great for you to have me here. I really, really appreciate it.
Of course. So just to get right into it, Danny, what made you go into the content world in the first place? And when did you realize this could be your business?
I mean, obviously, I've been watching YouTube since I was very young. Like, even when I was 5, 6 years old, I was watching videos from a lot of big YouTubers like Colin Ski, Preston, a lot of like big gaming videos. And then when I was 8, I had a friend over and he randomly just said, let's start a YouTube channel out of nowhere, out of the blue. And because this is something that I always wanted to do, I agreed to it. So then we started making Lego review videos. I maybe did that for around 1 to 2 years. I don't know if you can see the full.
Oh, that's nice. You still have the
Yeah, I
collection.
still have my Lego collection, and a lot of these were used in my first few videos. It's something that I'm not really too fond of anymore. I'm trying to sell them, but it was a good memory to have at the start. And from there, like for till around like 2021, I was just posting a bunch of random content on YouTube. I was posting Lego reviews, I was posting trick shots, I was posting sports, like I would sometimes post basketball, or like we invented a game with my friend called Extreme Ball Tag at the time, which
Oh,
it
nice.
wasn't the game that made the most sense, but I had a lot of fun doing it and I loved making the videos at the time. And then it wasn't until like 2021 when I transitioned into making music, when I realized that I could actually make a full-time amount of money by this. Because in December of 2022, like a year after I started making my music, I had received a paycheck for 50 cents. It wasn't much money at the time, but it was proof that this stuff was even possible. So I continued making music till around September of 2023 when I was scrolling on Instagram Reels and I saw a 14-year-old kid my age, because I was 14 at the time, who had a YouTube play button, had 100,000 followers, and had so much other stuff in my life that were lifetime dreams, and he had them at the age of 14. At that
Wow.
moment, I was super, super inspired. Then I realized that this could also be me. I have the same potential as him. I then tried to network with him, joined his like Discord servers, all of that, spoke in the channels, but he was positioning himself in a way where he was like so high level that I couldn't like get in touch with him. I waited 2 months before actually implementing anything. And I then realized that my friend who I'd been playing video games with a lot was really, really weird. Like it was trying to convince me to be transgender. It was
Oh,
basically like disproving everything that I would say. I couldn't even have a normal conversation with the guy. And it wasn't until like I remember the exact date. It was December 28th, 2023 at like 3:40 in the morning when I just told him, bro, I can't do this anymore. You're wasting so much of my time. If I put this time somewhere else, I would be a successful business owner. And then I blocked the guy and I never spoke with him again. And that was a day where I initially started in entrepreneurship.
100%. And yeah, your journey is somewhat similar to mine. When COVID started, like 2020, 2021, I wanted to have a YouTube channel so bad. It wasn't anything to do with Lego collections, music. It was on video games. So I used to play a lot of those like .io survival
Oh,
games,
oh,
etc. Yeah. So like there was this 2D battle royale game called Surviv.io, and I was really, really good at that. And I believe what you said eventually will, and what we'll cover later on, takes
yeah.
that experience and transfers that into your current state right now. So when we're
Yeah.
talking about like current state, and of course the next step is like where do you want to go from there, is what are your short-term and long-term goals?
Short-term goals is I want to have more than 30 clients by the end of the year, like active clients. And I think that will definitely be achievable with the way that we're currently going. I feel like long term is a little bit more difficult to decide because, especially as a content agency owner and as a business owner, everybody wants to be the best.
Mhm.
So it's not about having the right goals long term, it's about building the right systems now that'll help you achieve those goals long term. For example, having like hiring SOPs, having ways to do
Mhm.
sales, a good fulfillment. All of those will really, really impact the way that your long-term goals will turn out. So I don't really focus too much on long-term goals. I have a vision board, and that's
Mhm.
kind of like life I want to live before I turn like 20. Like for example, I don't know if I could show you. Is there a way I could show you this? I'm not sure.
You
But
go ahead.
I, I have like my dream physique there, my dream car, my dream watch, the places I want to visit. Like I literally have a $1 million like bill there, like a old Turkish dollar bill, like a Turkish lira, because they used to
Mhm.
have million. So that's just like the stuff that I have there. And I also have the round table, which is my private like community and
Yeah.
group. And I have that because that's something I want to scale, as well as the GCT, which I haven't mentioned too much about yet.
Are you do you want to talk about GCT or later on?
I'll talk about it now briefly. It's basically a group. I don't know if anybody here knows about Class, but it's like a private group of entrepreneurs who go on cool trips, like networking opportunities and like valuable connections that are needed. So essentially, we have like 35 young entrepreneurs under the age of 20 who are very, very known in the space. And I have all of them inside of a group chat. And if anybody needs like a connection, if anybody needs like an accountant, Ben, anything like that, we'll help each other out. For example, the other day, someone was looking to get contact with fan bases, and
Mm.
someone connected somebody with them, and they were able to get on fan bases. Like we're also on fan bases as well, so that's
Yeah.
like a way to connect people.
100%. Yeah, I know a few guys from fan bases and they're fantastic. So when it comes, I know you mentioned systems, like the inputs, but I also want to talk a little bit more about like the specific actions, like what's the biggest lever you can pull to get to your goals? So like what specific actions are you taking right now to get clients?
I have a really, really good setter, and I'm training him like actively. I'm showing him what he could do to do better, creating SOPs and all that. If it wasn't for this setter, a lot of the calls that we have wouldn't have gotten booked. But in terms of personal actions, obviously creating more content would be good because it shows proof that I'm good at what I do. I've kind of been neglecting content lately because I've been focused a lot more on my clients' content. And
Mm.
as you know, because you have to run content, it's kind of difficult to focus on your own brand when you're also focusing on someone
100%.
else's brand. Like your brain is just like everywhere. So focusing on my own content would obviously help me get more clients, but also kind of changing up the content that I do to where it only attracts like my ICP, because I people are telling me that my following on Instagram is a literal gold mine. And I completely agree with that. But the thing is that I need like a bigger audience, because like if I want to get to those big numbers, let's say 100K a month, million a month, which is very, very difficult, like even as an agency owner,
Mhm.
I need to have everything dialed in at the same time.
100%. Yeah, and for that point too, I know this is more of a nuance with the algorithm. A lot of people say like you should either go super wide and then convert a few, and then you should also, or the other way around that is you go super niche, but sometimes the algorithm doesn't push it fully out to your true ICP. So like I'm kind of leaning more towards the top of the funnel, super massive, have the higher likelihood of converting more people compared to like staying super niche compared to like the micro niche Ryan clog format. So when you first started landing clients, what were they actually paying you for? Because for context for everyone, Danny and I know each other a little bit, but nothing crazy. And we're both content marketing agency owners. But when it comes to when you first started landing clients, what was your service delivery looking like?
Yeah, so my first client I closed in December of 2024, which is quite a while after I started in business and started creating content. He was paying me like $130 a month in my currency. It's like 80 US a month. And I was
Mhm.
doing 30 videos ideated, 30 videos scripted, 30 videos edited. It was basically slave labor at that point,
Yeah,
but I like sort of that experience to know if I was actually good at what I did and how I could actually help other people in the future. And then like I started going up from there. I worked with some people for free. I worked with that client. He was one of the only clients I had for a while. Like
mhm.
the 20 year 2024 was a bit, or no, not 20, yeah. The year of 2025, I didn't really sign that many clients until like around May. And then May, I just signed a few for video editing. And then like in November, I signed like my first like high ticket guys for like big numbers. And like now we're starting to charge even more. and we're just getting more and more of those people. And I learned that you should have a few clients who pay you a lot of money than a lot of clients who pay you a little amount of money, because
Way too
you're
much
starting,
headache.
not even that, but your margins are going to get cooked if all of your clients are low paying. And when you're outsourcing, you have to pay a similar amount of money. That because we have the same editors for both the clients who pay us like a little amount of money versus the people who pay us a lot of money. The people who pay us a lot of money, we have to do a little bit more of the fulfillment as well. It's not just editing.
100%. So when it comes to running a content agency, what is the biggest thing that most people misunderstand when they first start an agency in general?
In my opinion, people think that posting content to get clients to make them content is like unethical, when in reality it's one of the best things that you can do, because you don't have to share your offer directly in your content. You can have it on the back end, which is what I did for a while. And in my videos, I was just sharing pure value and how I would break down another creator's marketing strategy, which some people may consider it as glazing. Some people may say, oh, you shouldn't do this, it makes you look bad. But honestly, the following that I built from this and the amount of connections that I made disproves that completely. Because I'm young, because I have experience, because I have a long name to make for myself, that this would work perfectly. And I had another client in South Africa who is a year younger than me. But the thing is that he looked a lot younger than me. He was able to get the amount of followers that I got in 2 months in a single week. And he was able to get so many more connections than me.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. To add on to your point, I think there is this kid named Giannis Aesthetic who blew up like probably
Yeah,
six
he's one
to
of my friends.
yeah, I spoke to him really briefly, and then there's another kid named Charlie Majuel who blew up
Oh,
a while
I know
ago.
it. Yeah, I know that.
Yeah,
I know both. I entered the space when like they were like starting to blow up,
yeah,
like
me
here and
too.
there.
I got into the content social media realm basically when Charlie got like 10, 15,000 followers. So I want to speak very quickly about just standing out. And my definition of marketing is the ability to stand out without breaking trust. So when it comes to you, there you have like the indirect marketing approach, and then there's the direct marketing approach too. How I kind of think of it is the contrarian perspective. Like, what is something that I can do that most people are currently doing that will make me stand out in some way? One way by doing that is by just having a very different background. So for context, everyone, for the viewers, before we even hit the record button, Danny and I were briefly speaking about what's our physical background behind us. So when it comes to your indirect approach, what is like one way that you're standing out in the crowd of people who are doing the indirect marketing way?
Probably the clothing I wear, because I don't see a lot of like young people like put too much attention into their clothing. But in reality, I learned this from one of my mentors, but he ended up scamming me. But he basically said that you got to be super, super presentable when it comes to your sales calls, you on camera in general. Because when I started working with him, I look like a lot younger than I do now because I had a different haircut, which would just
Yeah.
make me look a lot younger. And he said you gotta find ways to subconsciously make the prospect or the viewer take you more seriously. And one of the ways I did that was with the clothing I wear. Because you don't see another 16-year-old put this much attention into their clothing. They're usually just wearing hoodies, they're wearing baggy jeans, they're wearing
Mhm.
whatever the jeans tell them that they should wear. But whenever you see like a young kid dressing like a CEO, then it
Yeah.
shows that it either has potential, he's super, super inspired, or he's actually just really, really good at what he does. And that's one of the ways that like I was able to indirectly like stand out.
Yeah, appreciate that. And for me too, I've going back to like the marketing is the ability to stand out. There's two ways to stand out: online and then in person. And I just ordered a custom t-shirt. I'm actually wearing it right now. It says your content is forgettable because you're scared to stand out. And
Oh, I love that.
thank you. Appreciate it. When I was in Colorado for about a week, I had the idea of like I can just go out because I don't really care what people think. Of they're like, oh, they stare at me. Oh no, I'm so traumatized. It's more along the lines of like they got the message. They might bring like ask me, why are you wearing that shirt? Or they might be a business owner and I said that content, that thing on your shirt resonated with me. Can you tell me more about your deal? It's the
Yeah.
indirect way to get conversations, which eventually leads to relationships, which eventually can lead to clients. So
Yeah.
when it also comes to standing out, etc., I know you have your background, your physical appearance, but another way to stand out is your mindset. So could you just briefly share about like not necessarily how important your mindset is, but what you must have actively going on in your head on a daily basis to get success?
Yeah, in my opinion, what everybody needs if they want to be an entrepreneur is a filtering system that's coded in their mind that filters out brokies and losers who just want something from them than people who actually want to grow with them. I can say this publicly on this podcast. I do not have a single person who I see on a daily basis besides school who isn't making money. My parents, they're my parents, but they're still making money. My business partner is making money. My appointment setter, he goes to my school and he's making money. My
Hmm.
business partner's making money. All the clients I work with, they're making money. Everybody I message with, they're all printing. So if you have like this filtering system in your brain, like I get a lot of message requests of people just saying, "Hey, let's connect."
Yeah.
Automatically, this guy's broke and he just wants something from me. He wants my time, he wants my attention, and he's not going to give anything back in return.
Hmm.
So for everybody who's watching this, you need to have a way to detect that someone wants something from you without giving anything back. Basically,
Yeah.
like you got to find creators in the crowd of consumers to bring on your side to level up with and to grow with.
Okay, cool. Yeah, for me, I'm similar to that. Like I'm trying my best to surround myself with people who not just make money, but also don't take the energy that I have away from me. Very similar to you. Like I want something from you, but how can I get something from you? It's more of the like transactional relationships, but that is needing in this business environment. And another way to stand out is my CSM framework that I use of like the argument that you build to get clients, one being context. And with AI, that's basically allowing you to learn the industry specifics because of course some clients give you the objection, oh, you're a marketing agency, but you specialize in doctors. How can you help my restaurant?
Whoa, I get that so many times from day traders who I don't know much about.
Yeah,
But
like
like if you understand content, then like you'll understand them. And like for script, like for example, I'm working with a few day traders right now and
mhm,
I'm scripting their videos. And for the first like videos, I had to get a lot of context from what they do. And then the second time I could just waffle about whatever I want. Like someone taught me this is that you can say whatever you want in the scripts as long as the client tells you what you can't say. That's it.
mhm. Yeah, I
So I
use
can
that
say whatever
too.
I want. And I also just do fill in the blanks. So when I'm scripting a video for a client, I just say, this is exactly how I would make X amount of money in X amount of time. And then
Mhm.
so they have the context and they could just fill it in because they
Yeah.
don't usually read it word for word. They just follow the framework. And that's really the more valuable thing.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I had a previous client who was based in Australia. He like ran a lawn care business about like 80 to 90K a month. And he was getting into content and we got like a testimonial. We parted ways. He just had too much going on his moment with family, work. He actually bought a business. So he had to require that. The next really thing from the context, the next is skill set. So you mentioned writing scripts. Like, can you walk me through like a framework that you use to create a script?
Yeah. So essentially what I do is do my scripts in a reverse engineered way. I start with the hook and then I start with the CTA and then I
Mhm.
have everything in
Working
between
in between.
because
Yeah.
usually what I do is I have a hook and then I have what's called an interest peak. I learned this from one of my friends, Ryan. He doesn't really do content anymore. I mean, he does, but he's not that like known. But essentially, it's like a sentence after your hook that gets people to stay and watch till the end of the video. For example, let's just say this is exactly how to make $10,000 a month online. That's my hook. And then if I say, and no, it's not drop shipping and SMMA, that's your interest fee. So you essentially just shattered a few of their ideas and now they're going to stay till the end. And then for the body, I have 3 to 4 sentences, or depending on the style of video that it is. And each sentence after the other, it's a follow up. So essentially, I say, I bought the soccer ball on Amazon. It was only $35 and I had a 50% discount. And I keep
Yeah.
doing that, a follow up until I reach the end of the video where I have a one sentence that
Yeah.
transitions into the CTA. And
Yeah.
usually I don't get CTA anymore because of what I'm selling and the type of people I'm trying to attract, if I were to even have a CTA in my videos, it will just make me look like I'm desperate.
100%. You definitely want to go, like you said, make it sure it aligns to your indirect way to stand out. And for me
And
too, what do you say?
also people scripting videos here, if you're doing a video where it's like 3 best tips, you always want to have the best tip at the start of the video. So that way you maximize the amount of watch time and the engagement.
100%. Yeah, the hook is very important, but it's also the raw content itself. Because when it comes to, like you said, you like write scripts, you also like used to edit videos or probably have like an editor now. For me,
Yeah.
and like another analogy that I use to clients is it's very simple. The raw piece of content itself is a cake. The editing is the frosting. If the cake is great, but the editing or the frosting is all right, it's still overall a decent cake. But if you flip that, and the cake is trash, but the editing is immaculate, it's perfect, the cake itself is probably not a good experience. The biggest lever you can pull is the raw content. One way by doing that is what you say, what you do in the video, and what's your physical background and your experience. Those are really
Yeah.
like the four thing that really covers the video. One framework that I use to write scripts, like I'm not really a script writer expert, but it's something I'm working on. I'll kind of cover this later on with one of my questions for you later, is every good video needs to die. Disrupt, inject, execute. Disrupt, get the person's attention, inject the entertainment, the education, or a mix of both, and then execute, like actually publish the video, because like that's a mindset issue. The next part is the second layer of the die framework. Disrupt what current belief that the viewer feels or has that is disrupted. What new belief is injected or influenced by them from that content, and then execute. What's the best step forward that the prospect feels that they should do next? That's why I believe CTAs don't create intent. They just funnel the existing intent already. So
Yeah,
when
I
it
agree.
comes to funneling traffic, I know you have like the indirect approach, but just to briefly speak about the direct approach, when it comes to your CTAs, like what are the top 3 CTAs you currently use, if any, for your clients?
I mean, obviously in story sequences, there's there's CTAs that you got to use. In story sequences, I'm not against having CTAs. I feel like they're actually mandatory. And
Mhm.
one is either YouTube, and in terms of the videos, it's just a follow, a share, or a comment. Because something that people don't realize is people think that shares give you the most engagement on a video. And that is true, but if you get a lot of comments, it'll actually be a lot more valuable than shares. Because if someone is scrolling through all the comments and they're reading all the comments, you're going to effectively double your watch time. And watch time is way more valuable than engagement. So because of engagement, you're getting more watch time. But if people just see a number of shares on their video, it won't say much.
Yeah, 100%. So when it comes to standing out, having systems, etc., what do you think most like info product content creators get wrong? Like what is the worst thing that they could get wrong in content?
People think that in order to make good content, you need to have a lot of experience in what you do, which is not true, because you can make anything bad look good and you can
Mhm.
make anything look bad. For example, I have clients who are making like 20K a month, but they look like they're making like 200K a month. And I have clients who are making like 300K a month, but they look like they're making like 2K a month.
Yeah.
So it's all the way you position yourself and you portray yourself. Like I get people telling me that they look over my profile that I'm making like 30, 40 grand a month. And it's all because of the way that I put my perception upon people, and it's subjective. Like
Mhm.
I get like the people who know me in person versus the people who don't know me, and I'll get two completely different answer of the person I am. So it's all about like what you want them to see and how you
Mhm.
can leverage that to your advantage.
Yeah. Okay. So you mentioned like what they see. What do you purposely leave out then?
I purposely leave out like it's something I don't really talk about, but my conversations, like my deep conversations I have with my parents, is that as an entrepreneur and as like a founder, you're gonna have people that doubt you. and you're going to have people who tell you that it's not the best route, it's not like the best sort of thing to do. And even though like I'm making money, my parents still want me to get a good education. They want me to go to college and all that. And they
Mhm.
even told me they don't care how much I make if I don't have like a good education. I have no idea why, but it's just one of the things I do, and I leave that out because most people like think I'm on the path like, oh, I'm gonna make enough money and then I'm gonna drop out of school and do this full time. But
Yeah.
like that's not like something that like I'm probably gonna be able to do. That's obviously what I want to do, but I'm probably not going to be able to do it. And I feel like it'll also teach me like a few lessons. Like, for example, if I went to college, it would teach me like a few things that I probably would have never known if I had went there. For I don't know if you've read a book called How to Win Friends and Influence
I've
People.
read that book so many times.
It like it basically like teach me how to like make friends with people who obviously don't have the best intentions, but I'll still be like cool with them.
Mhm.
And like, well as that, if you're this is something that my friend Edo taught me, that if you're like running a business and you're in school and you're doing great at both, imagine once you're not in school and you have double the amount of time, how much better you'd be doing.
Yeah, it's not just 2x, it's the pendulum. Like you skyrocket from there for sure.
Yeah,
So you mentioned establishing, like what you mentioned is like you're leaving out this, you're mentioning this. I call, like, if you could summarize everything, is just establishing your narrative. So for
yeah,
instance, I want to get so good at content, and I know I shared this to you before, is I want to become one of the best marketers out there, specifically on the line of conversion. And that is where the most trust is needed compared to like the part of
views.
they just watch the video, etc. And one way by doing that is establishing your narrative. One quick side story on this is I use AI a lot, and two things I want to speak about. One, the upcoming trend of how people can stand out, because that's one of the biggest things. But also sometimes you can tend to overthink, oh, I can stand out in this way, I can stand out in this way. But you sometimes have to just double down on what's working. What are the fundamental things about business, about content that you must do? And sometimes if you get too heavy in the weeds of like, oh, this way can stand out, you ignore the basic. Like you need a hook for a
Yeah,
video,
I
regardless of
agree.
that. Yeah, so the two things. First is the DMC framework. And how I usually create my frameworks is just find something that's either counterintuitive or like, what do you mean by that? That's like the first thing that I want people to think when I say the DMC framework. So AI with content or just in general will democratize, monetize, and commoditize. Democratize access to information. Everyone will now have the info, the strategy, but they probably not be able to do the execution. Next is monetization. Everyone with AI, it will help you monetize AI agents, all that fun stuff. Commoditize. Once everyone has the AI agent, etc., everyone's offer will be commoditized, which means every single offer will look the same, which kind of goes back
Yeah,
to the CSM framework that I have. Context, AI can help you with that. Skill set can help you with that. It helps you with the outcomes, but not the reasoning behind the decisions. And then it goes back to mindset. Mindset is the one of like, how can I explain this better?
like
What are some frameworks that I can do? AI cannot, even though it can do the thinking for you, it will not be able to speak on your behalf on a sales call. So when it comes to that, when it comes to just frameworks in general, when I talk about standing out with AI, I kind of had AI list like the 20 steps of like what is the next level of influence, like what's the next biggest step that I
yeah,
can take right now. And it gave me these AI jargon terms like environmental control, of where you actually control the entire environment around you. And then I asked like, who has achieved the highest level? And they mentioned, I think, the Roman Empire, or like massive empires who had their own propaganda. Like every country has its own propaganda, what narrative they're instilling in their country, their members, their citizens. So I'm actually learning about how either motivational speakers, leaders of certain countries use their narrative positioning to maintain what people think. One very good instance is the news. I don't pay attention to that anymore that much, but like one very good example is that. What are your thoughts on that?
for sure. I believe that like in order to stand out as well, I just want to add this as a side note. Like this is for
Mhm.
anybody running a content agency, that this is something like super, super untapped. And I call it the repost funnel. Essentially, I don't know if I told you about this before, but essentially when a client posts a video, you repost it. Like there's a button, you just press repost,
Yeah.
and it shows your repost. And you do that for all of your clients. Okay. Then what you do is you either reach out to the people who comment on those videos manually, the people who liked manually, or you get your setter to do that, which is what I do. And
Mhm.
the thing is that it essentially is cold outbound because
Yeah.
they've never heard of you before, but because they've seen your clients' videos, it's essentially warm and they have mutuals with you. So you're like 95% chance you're going to get a response rate.
What's the structure of the outreach message?
It's just like, yo, name. I saw that you liked one of my clients, and then you drop the names, videos, and then like, how are you finding the content? And then he'll essentially be like, oh shit, this guy's working with this guy and he's getting
Mm,
him good results. I need to work with him. I'm not joking. I signed 3 clients doing that,
that's
like
great.
just in the few like weeks with this
Yeah.
repost funnel.
Yeah, I had a similar strategy and it was more internal. It was not clients, it was our own pages. So let's say we had a video go viral and we had the like a massive celebrity follow this or this business. So like if you're familiar with Quest bars, like the nutrition brand, we had
No, I'm
the
not.
okay, so there's a guy named Tom Bilyeu who's the founder of Quest Nutrition. He's like worth like 200 million plus. His CMO like commented on his like one of our videos, said like fantastic video, and then we use that as reference to attract a certain audience that we want.
Yeah,
So we're speaking a lot about the strategy side, but also want to help the viewers understand like not just our decisions, but the reasoning behind them. So I want to do a live breakdown of someone that you think can benefit from your experience, your skill set, your thoughts, and then I'll share mine. So,
yeah.
do you want to share your screen of like who you want to talk about?
Yeah, sure. Let me just pull it up on Instagram because I don't want to have to share everything. It won't take
That's
long.
fine.
All right. And then here, we'll share. All right. So I want to do a breakdown of this trader with the name of Azarel Kobos. And he essentially posts content on both Instagram and YouTube. He like posts a lot of lifestyle, a lot of vlogs. And I want to just do a live breakdown about how he could like actually convert his audience because he sells a mentorship. So first thing that I would say is that his username is good. It has his name. I can't zoom in at all, which is weird. But like here, his username is good. His name is good. He has a his profile picture, in my opinion, though, it has to show a little bit more of his face
Yeah.
because now whenever they look at his profile, the first thing they see is him holding a cheetah, which is honestly it is aura, but it has to show a little bit more of his face to build trust.
Mhm.
His bio, the thing is that it doesn't really say what he does. And that could be good if you try to build a mysterious sort of vibe to yourself. But if you want to actually like convert people, you got to like be very, very clear about what you do, the results you've gotten for people, and the next steps. His highlights, he has lots and lots of results, which is good. But the thing is that he's trying to mix 2 types of avatars in one. He has
I love
results,
that.
results for the people who want to get results. And then he has Dubai, Brickle, Dubai, life, money for people who are like broke and who want to like see the life that he's living. And like that's like you need to commit to one in my opinion. Either that or you have 2 pages, one for like lifestyle stuff, one for value, where you just like go super, super hard. Because if you have both, then you're losing a lot of viewers in both cases. Now, this is something as well that like you need to have aura in your pictures. And the main way to have that is have other people taking the pictures of you. For
Mhm.
example, like this picture right here, it looks so in the moment that it doesn't even look like you just said, "Mom, come take a picture of me. I'm posing."
It's
But
the fly in the wall moments
yeah,
for the
exactly.
viewer.
But like his new pictures, they seem a little bit too staged. Like, yes, he's standing in front of a jet, but he has so many like better, like for example, this. And like he has so many like this too. He has so many better pictures that he could use where it just looks so much more like natural
Hmm.
that it would be a lot better as a first impression for people to see. And this is Aura, by the way. That's crazy.
Yeah.
But even like this, it looks like stage. And I guarantee you, like he has so many more natural pictures he could be using.
So do
And
you think that's like the biggest constraint on his end on the marketing side?
yeah, I feel like if he had more natural like pictures, it would look like way better. Not even just aesthetic wise, but it would also like be better for starting off conversation and be like, oh my God, you're so high level. Because I
Mm,
could look at him right now. He's living a decent life. Maybe like I could say he's making 50K a month. I know he's making more, but that's like a first impression. Because
yeah.
after 50K a month, your life doesn't really change. But if it looked like other people were taking his like pictures in a way where it looked like a lot more natural, he would get the perception of doing 300K a month, 400K a month, 500K a month. Like
Hmm.
here, he's showing off his view in his Dubai penthouse, but like,
Yeah.
imagine if he had someone to take the video of him in a more like natural vibe, if you get what I
Hmm.
mean.
Yeah, it's definitely like one of the biggest new trends is those fly in the wall moments
It
of
will.
the viewer feels exactly like they're with you. And I know you're gonna probably use your Instagram page as an example to add on to your point, but if once you do that, I want to go back to Azrael because I do have a few things. Like my approach is a little bit slightly different, but I want to hear yours first.
Wait, like about what exactly? Like his, let me check out his YouTube. I just want to
Yeah.
see.
Do you have, and you said his reels because 80% of the discoverability comes from Instagram reels, not posts. Of course, carousels and all that fun stuff can help nurture, build trust, etc. Okay. So it
Yeah,
seems like it's more
funnel. Like he's not posting any value, he's just posting top of the funnel. And
yeah, it's all top of funnel. Yeah,
yeah,
from what I see so far. But yeah, that is good. I do agree. I had a similar point to make of he's attracting two audiences in one. However, there's kind of two takes in content because a few things you have to acknowledge in content when you're analyzing someone's page and how I just build the argument with clients and like why they should know, like, trust, and respect me is one counter argument you could say is content is just one way to grow your business.
yeah,
Second is there's so many variables to content. You can easily overthink this was the reason why the video performed or did not perform, but sometimes it's the other reason. So when it comes to your analysis of like he's attracting two audiences in one, you said he's like the lifestyle one and then like the trading community. That is good. I did have a similar thing, but I wasn't super cemented on that. There's kind of two ways you can do it. His approach, but let's say he gets a video with 10,000 views with his lifestyle, and then he has one that's more niche specific that's get 1,000. It's more speaking into his core audience, which could help. But I do agree with your point that Instagram maybe or maybe does not know the difference between this video got 20 to 25,000 views and then his next video got 2 to 3,000. That means that video didn't perform, so we're gonna punish him and not push out his content even more. What are your,
yeah.
is that like what you're believing on
Mm,
like the strategy?
what I think is that like if a video performs well, you shouldn't even like create like content for a week besides just reposting that video on like trial reels or like making different versions of that video.
Hmm.
Because like it already performed good once. So like if it performs once, it'll perform again. And like he has like 35,000 on Instagram, so he definitely has access to trial reels. And
Yeah.
you're also saying that content is just one of the ways that you can grow a business. I know that he's doing indirect selling, which is the way that a lot of these like big info guys are
Hmm.
making money nowadays, like Brez, like TJR, and he's like trying
Yeah.
to be one of them, which is great. However, in my opinion, he needs to like the only way that you can do indirect selling is if you're super, super known. And he only has 34K on Instagram and he has 42K on Instagram, which is like 70K. But if
Yeah.
you look at Rez and they have TJ and TJR, they have millions of followers on Instagram. And they also have like thousands of clippers who are posting their content every day.
100%.
So it's kind of obvious to know like what they're doing. It's like not only authority because like anybody with 10 followers, like they could be a billionaire with 10 followers, he'll still have authority. But it's like the relatability and the authority that they have with their
Mhm.
audience. And I feel like if Azarel wants to be able to do direct selling, he needs like a lot more like sub pages of him where he's actually like speaking to the camera. Because something I've noticed is, yeah, yes, he shows his face in his videos. Yes,
Yeah,
he shows his lifestyle in his videos, but you could never once see his voice. And that is, or hear
I
his
think
voice.
he spoke a couple times, but that's just a nuance.
Yeah, in his reels, he only spoke a couple times, but his YouTube, it's like more personal. You're speaking a lot more, but even on his reels, you got to show his voice because that's like the first like thing that someone thinks about you. It's your voice.
Yeah,
Like
I do.
I can sound really high pitch, but then no one would take me seriously, or I could sound really deep, and then no one would
Yeah.
also see you. Like it's all about the little things. Like yes, he's consistent with the way he dresses. Yes, his lifestyle is
Mhm.
consistent, but he doesn't share his voice once.
Yeah. Yeah,
If you know.
I agree with you. So if you can just go to his YouTube, because I know there's so many ways also to structure a funnel.
Like, he says
Oh,
what he's free
yeah.
trade.
So nonchalant. So with if you could just go to his videos, it seems like it's just all lifestyle as well. Then he has like,
Yeah.
okay, that makes sense. Yeah, you
All
don't
like
have to go back
so that you get
because
clips.
for
It's
me,
not clipping anything.
how my thoughts on his funnel of like how it's structured, because I'm guessing his goal is to monetize, because there's also the other question is like, what are you optimizing for when it comes to your business? Are you a media business who's monetizing off of like AdSense, products, etc., or you're a business owner monetizing and using content as a vehicle to grow your business? It's
Yeah.
probably the second for him. So
Yeah.
when it comes to that, his Instagram and his YouTube, even though it's shorter and longer form videos, they still are the same in the sense of they're all lifestyle. So I would probably do a strategy that focuses more on not necessarily Brez format, because it is trading and trading is more broad compared to like freelance brand scaling. People are familiar with the concept of trading compared to freelance brand scaling, which means there's less to explain to a beginner, which means it's easier to scale. So for him, I would recommend something similar to what you said is first gets like finally format like how are you going to properly structure your funnel. So is he going to use this YouTube channel and his Instagram page as top of the funnel, or is he going to slowly pivot and transition
He also
this?
has like a few other YouTubers, like student results, and then a course right here.
Okay, so he seems like he has like a business equivalent page already. Can you scroll down a bit to see his
Uh,
subscribers?
oh yeah,
Yeah.
look, he has a
Okay,
type.
cool. So he has okay, so that funnel. So the another biggest question is there some link tree, etc., from his top of the funnel Instagram account?
No,
Okay,
it's a YouTube funneling into another YouTube from his Instagram originally.
yeah, it's just a lot of steps, which might have some drop off, but
Like
that's all right.
other YouTube acts more of like a middle of the funnel, even though it's lifestyle.
Yeah,
And
I agree.
other pages bottom of the funnel. But what's funny is that like if I go to student results, it also brings me to this other channel right here. Like this is my second
Yeah,
channel.
this is the education one. Okay,
Yeah,
that's cool. I did not know that he had that, so that makes it way easier. And my advice is just don't taking that back is not restructure the funnel. He already has it in place. It would just be do more of the bread strategy.
like a
But I know a
clipper.
lot of yeah, exactly. And then take that, clip that, and then also making clippable content. So I don't really have a lot to say because I'm not a expert on info products marketing as much as just marketing in general, but I do believe that marketing is universal and can be applied to any niche. It just goes back to the context. So I think for him, if I were to map out like a really, really quick strategy, is like what is the biggest lever we can pull? Probably is to clip. Second is to like have the very small nuances, like the micro optimizations, what I call them, like
Yeah.
having his voice in the video. People know, like, trust, and respect you, and then have more of a direct path to monetization.
Yeah.
So that would be like the 3-step framework that I would suggest for Azrael, but I know we kind of covered his page for a good time. Is there anything else that you'd like to mention?
Something else is that he has a lot of mutuals, so which is really really good, and build trust by association. Because just because like he's around like these type of people, I could go into like his tag videos, and then I see like, okay, he's with Dustin, he's with Samir. These are two like other
Yeah,
big influencers. So it also just like builds a lot of trust through trust by association. So I'll stop
well, that
sharing.
that's that. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, that's just more nuanced to you though, but that's still fine because a lot of people follow like this, then they follow Breads, and they follow TGR, etc. So I know we talked a lot about strategy. We did a little bit of execution, but we want to also hear about like the exact step you would take. I know we covered that briefly for Azrael, but if someone gave you a brand new account with 0 followers today, what would be the first 30 pieces of content look like strategically? And then for context, they are a former sales rep who made 20 to 30K a month in insurance, who wants to sell a high ticket coaching offer, helping people get into sales and helping current sales reps make more money, and they're optimizing for revenue. What's your game plan for that
Ooh,
person?
that's tough because a lot of people sell sales mentorships nowadays.
I
Like, why would I?
know. I gave you
Why
that
would
for a reason.
why would I buy from you then, Andreas? It's like there's so many. Okay, so here's what I'll do because I have a few sales clients as well, and it's very very interesting. Is because they have a software that's so unique that the content they make will be like the exact same. It'll be super super unique. It's called Valeron, and
Oh,
essentially
yep. Clearly for
it's
sales
like
calls.
completely for a sales call, and like it does live objection handling. Everyone here who's watching, buy Valeron. It's the best software you'll ever use. Free promo, but essentially what I would do is you need to like do the opposite of what the crowd is doing. And what I mean by that is if everybody's doing objection handling videos, post videos where you get like shut down. Like videos like let's say this guy shows an objection handle and then he closes. You show someone where you're objection handling where you don't close.
Mm,
And hear me out on this, it'll make you seem more vulnerable, which will build more trust with your audience. Because if people see that you're only good, then they're not gonna believe you when you say that they could do it too. Because they're
100%.
probably gonna think that they need like some specific skill set. So for example, if you like put like objection handling videos where you don't close, and then you have like a header where you're saying objection handling, he had to talk to his wife. Did I close or not?
Mm,
Then it's like, okay, they have to watch till the end of the video. If he doesn't close, you can be like, ah, okay, at least he fucking tried. And
yeah.
like build like so much more trust with your audience. But as well
Yeah.
as that, you need videos where you're actually like good at what you do. And the way that someone could tell if you're good at sales is the way you speak and the way you articulate yourself in a specific situation. I don't know if
Mhm.
you've ever been scrolling, but it's like a girl and a guy, and then the girl says, "Oh, I'm gonna break up with you," and it's like POV, your boyfriend's a salesman,
I've
and he's
seen
like,
those
"Okay,
before.
oh, gotcha." So factoring that in, is it because you're not ready to have a relationship? Like, you see what I mean? It's like,
Mhm. Money
bro,
aside type of stuff. Yeah.
it's like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. So that's what your plan is for him or her to stand out. What would
And
the
then social
30
it's,
Okay, and then like how would you structure the funnel? Would it be on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok? What would it look like?
here's the thing. I don't think YouTube would really work for sales because you're going to be attracting a lot of people who aren't making money who also don't have that much time. So if you're posting like 20-minute YouTube videos, you're not going to have time to watch that. I
Mm.
for sales, I'll do similar to what one of my clients is doing, which is a free community where you just drop like fuck ton of value and then you upsell that into a one-on-one.
Okay, and that's through Instagram. And then what would the videos look like then? Outside of the person, like the no close series.
Like I'll do raw videos, raw yapping videos.
Raw yapping videos. Okay. And then what outside of the one factor of them showing calls that they didn't close, what would be like one or two other ways that they could stand out on the raw content side?
Using very, very controversial hooks. Like I was on a call with a guy named Amro yesterday, and he was telling me about some of his like video ideas. And for example, as a hook, he would be like, yo, is this Mr. Netanyahu? And then they'll be like, yeah. And then they'll be like, are you ready for the truth? Are you ready for the truth? Or no, or like, do you want to hear the truth? And they'll be like, yeah. And then they're like, the truth is the actions and the minds that you think really impacts like the way you operate your like you see, it's like the hook, it's like so on one side, but the video is so on the other side. It's like
Yeah,
info's here, like controversies here, you bring them together and boom, it's magic. It's the same for like, I don't know if you heard of Siggy before, but he's really, really good at doing this. Like when he
Diggy Foss.
like yeah, he's really good with his hooks. Like, for example, you need to control your lustful desires. And he shows him getting a pay in full at midnight through DM close on WhatsApp. It's like
Yeah,
so much different things that you could do. It's just a matter of seeing what levers you could pull and how you could utilize this.
100%. Yeah, for me, it's just the biggest lever. Like I kind of how I when we did the analysis for an Azrael, it was like what's the biggest lever we can pull because we want to get him results fast. And then there's the also like the micro optimizations too. So I think the macro for him would just be clipping. I know a lot of people say, oh, he should do clipping, he should do clipping, but you have to go back to the basics. One way to get you
Yeah.
could 10x the amount of awareness you have. Maybe, of course, quality of leads aside, you might have like 2x the like amount of sales that you get from your coaching, high ticket coaching program, etc. So just to slowly transition out from today's conversation, as someone building this while still young, what skill do you think will matter most over the next like 3 to 5 years?
Obviously, I think AI would be very, very important and knowing how to use AI. But besides that, this is going to be super overlooked, but hiring. Like you need to like be good at hiring if you want to build a lasting business.
Mhm.
And not just like hiring in terms of like affordability. Like, for example, I'm saying this publicly. I have editors who I pay like $3 a video who are from India, and for them, it's like they're super, super
It's
happy.
10x equivalent. Yeah.
Not only that, but you need to have like A players on your team, and like you got to like start building out your internal team now. For example, right now it's me, my business partner. I have a closer, I have a setter, and I also have a client success manager who kind of acts like a growth up, and he helps the clients that we work with to make a little bit more money from their accounts and like monetize. Like we take
Mhm.
care of the content side. We also work with the CSM, and we help our clients to make money. But we're looking to hire like in the next like few months or years. Like head of content obviously would be important. So like they come up with strategies and they manage editors and all of that, as well as like head of sales, like or a sales manager to manage the setter, manage the closer, and also like a content operating manager who could just manage the editors we have for our clients and not just for ourselves, as
Cool.
well as a clipping team. That's also
Yeah.
like super, super
Yeah.
valuable.
100%. And
And
that
like
would
the way I want to go through that is I want to do something to the real world where they were using affiliates and the affiliates would make money from clipping. As well as that, you could also run it through WAP. Like I was thinking that like the way that I would get the people so motivated to clip for me is if they could get paid one way or another. So for example, if we did a WAP RPM for like maybe like $2 per 1K views, but we also did for every sale they get for either like a digital product,
they get like
like
20%.
exactly. So it's
Yeah.
like extra motivated to make clips and make money.
Yeah. It's one. I was thinking about that too. If I was to run a clipping campaign for someone, is to not just get views, but also convert too. And they could just have very similar to the real world Wi-Fi University of where they have a page, clipping page, and then they have the link in bio. Then you have your UTM tracking link, and then you're all set, and then you get like commission, just like very similar to what Digital Launchpad does when Iman was trying to do his like brand awareness with his $37 a month community. So what is one skill set or what is one thing you're actively learning right now about content that will help you get to your goals even further?
How to convey an emotion out of a prospect.
What
That's
about,
important.
yeah, what about externally, as in marketing yourself?
Mm, Can you go a little bit more into depth? I'm a bit confused about that
Yeah.
question.
So you're learning about sales. That's why you just mentioned, but also like the marketing side too. Like, what is one thing you're currently learning about marketing that will help you get to your goals?
You need to find a way, like it's more about like positioning, but in terms of like marketing, you need to like find a way for the viewer to always see you. That's something that's important as well. It's not just being consistent because I could like record clips or I could post clips from 8 years ago and they'll still be seeing me a lot. Because, for example, like when you run retargeting ads, they're always seeing you. So eventually they're going to want to buy from you. And you don't need to run your videos as ads for that to happen. You just need to be repurposing enough of your content to the point where they see the same stuff over and over again, but they see it with a new format or a new style. For example, I can make a video breaking down a marketing strategy sitting at like my desk right here, but I could also be at the 167th floor on the Burj Khalifa recording that. It's two different ways of recording it, but it's the same message.
Yeah.
And like for example, like Nike, whenever they're doing their marketing, they always have just do it. McDonald's always has their slogan. So that's you got to just find ways of delivering the same message in different ways. And that's how you get recognized as an industry leader and as a brand who people actually want to buy from.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. So it seems like what you're trying to get better at is just mind share. Like just you're
Yeah.
aware of Danny Fresko the entire time. Mine
Yeah.
is somewhat different. It's more learning about the packaging. So if I were to rank my skill sets in order, it's more about like the strongest thing right now for me is short form content. We used to, for context, and I know Danny and I had like a quick conversation about this. We used to run a channel called Successful Creates, which eventually got to 100 million views, 280,000 subscribers on YouTube, and it was a fantastic channel. And that was just mainly based off of just lifestyle, motivational clips. And the packaging, even though it was in the video, we didn't specialize in long form content. I've gone pretty good at short form content, but I need to get better at long form. Of course,
Yeah,
that can be applied throughout, but I'm specifically getting better in the past couple of days with YouTube thumbnails and YouTube titles. So for instance, if I was to come up with the title for today's YouTube video on the spot, it would probably include some authority concept with your skill set. So like how this 16-year-old works with like 20 plus clients. That would be like one how-to, and then it'd also be makes it click on the video themselves. The thumbnail is one way to amplify it. And I was thinking probably for this thumbnail would be a split screen between me and you, and then pull an expression that aligns to the title. Thank you for doing that.
yeah.
And I would do something along the lines of like either a shock, but that would be one of the few things I would do. But if I were to like stage it in steps, because I'm a visual learner, and when it comes to stages, I always like to like these few days I will work on thumbnails and titles. The next few days will be scripting. The next few days is this. So
That's smart. I never thought about batching like
yeah,
what do you call it?
I batch what I learn. So for instance, I've gone pretty good at content analysis, as long as of course I have a couple minutes to prep and I can just speak off the top of my head and then use my frameworks. Like I have a couple dozen frameworks. I've just shared a few today. And I can just pull my framework and apply it to a scenario. And that these frameworks not just apply to content business, but any part of my life. I have the dopamine monkey like framework, which is kind of talks about people that you do not want to associate with, people who scroll hours on end per day. They're probably never going to make it. The yo, bro, can you send me some money? Or yo, bro. Yeah.
Yo, bro, we're both young. Let's connect. Like I
Yeah.
get so many.
It goes back to that.
At this point, like, but like, here's the thing: when you get messages like that, you know you're doing something good because it's not everyone who gets those messages. It's only the people who actually done something valuable with their content or are providing good value to a market. Here's the thing. What's funny is that I'm not even posting content consistently, but my authority is slowly going up just because of the amount of mutuals I have and the clients that I'm working with. I'm getting like, I don't know if you noticed, I haven't posted like any content till today where I just posted a vlog trailer, but I keep getting more and more messages because of all the people I'm reaching out to and the repost funnel.
Yeah, that's a great strategy for sure. So just to wrap today's episode up. If you could speak in a clippable moment on any subject, what would it be?
That's a great question. Most likely, it'll probably be politics. And I'll say what, I'm not really that into politics. I definitely need to do a little bit more research about it. But the thing about politics is that there's so many eyes about it from so many different parts of the world, and it deeply affects people in business as well. I could say like a motivational speech about business in a political event, and I'll get people all around the world clipping it up, repurposing it, because it's not only the attention that you're getting from one place, but it's also like the LTV, like when it comes to
Hmm.
reposting and clipping it up. For example, like the clip of Trump getting assassinated, like or trying to get assassinated, like the first attempt, that clip itself has like 100, like 50 million views, 200 million views itself. But
Hmm.
as repurposed, translated, posted like all around the world, it probably has like 2 billion views to this day, that one clip. And
Yeah,
that's like really important, as well as like the context of politics, because a lot of business owners have like money in, for example, crypto markets, the stock market, which are deeply affected by politics. So if you're able to get a monopoly of politics, you essentially control the world. That's like a secret that I figured out, is that whoever controls the politics controls the world.
yeah, I agree with you on that. And yeah, that's a good stance. I I know I shared you a quick snippet on our intro call, but I finally fleshed out mine, and here it is. Aspiring entrepreneurs should not study philosophy.
Oh yeah.
Philosophy trains you to explore endless questions, but business is the opposite. It rewards action and having the right systems in place. The best entrepreneurs are not the ones thinking deeper all the time. They're the ones who think clearer.
Yeah, I agree. And
Yeah.
honestly, like what I learned about school and business as well is that you can't be perfect at both. You have to either be really bad at one and really good at the other. And here's why: because school punishes you for making mistakes, and it also forces you to take your time in order to get those mistakes right. But, like, for example, if you're the first one to finish in like on a test, pause, but if you're the first one to like complete the test, and then you hand it in and you get the worst grade, you're going to probably be the most successful entrepreneur, because one, you're thinking quickly and you're thinking clearly, and two,
Mhm.
you're putting action. You're
Yeah.
like putting in a action, which in return is going to get you a lot of results. Something else as well is that you need to be a bit lazy as an entrepreneur as well. Like, I know I asked this question to a few of my friends, is that if you want to be a successful entrepreneur, do you have to be the most hardworking person in the world or the laziest person in the world? If you said most hardworking, you're wrong, because 9 to 5 workers work the hardest. The
Mhm.
laziest people, no, that won't work either, because it's only the jobless, homeless people who are too lazy to get up and get a job. You need to be lazy on the repetitive tasks, but like a monster on the stuff that actually grows your business and like building your team. And that's what I've noticed as well.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. It's not just doing the hard things, it's doing the hard things that will get you to your goals.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, cool. So one last question. Anything else that you would like to mention that we have not covered yet?
Let me think. I feel like for the new people building personal brands, don't build a personal brand for the sake of building a personal brand. You need to have something going for you, because or else no one's going to be interested. I had a very like dark period of my life from like end of January of 2025 till like July 2025, where I was essentially posting content for the sake of posting content and documenting my journey. And reason why I think that's not a good idea is because people only want to watch if you have something active going for you. There's a form of jealousy that you need in your content, where people want something that you have, but they don't have it. So they're going to do everything in your power to get what you have. But if you have like no value to provide, you don't look like a model, your background doesn't look like a studio,
Mhm.
your voice doesn't sound like heaven, then it's like, what's the point of them even listening to you? You're just noise in a crowd of empty people. And this is something that somebody taught me. I couldn't figure it out on my own until one day I was just speaking with one of my friends from Italy, and he was like, yo, stop posting the content you're doing. You need to build a more educated audience. And that was honestly the best advice that I've ever received. And I actually started posting good content that attracted a good audience. And now I want to post content that actually like converts.
That's awesome. All right, sounds good. Thank you, Danny, for joining the show. And for all
Bro,
the viewers out there, like, subscribe, and do all those fancy stuff with the phenomenal call to action that I just said. Appreciate you, Danny, from having the video. All right.
of course.